what do we think are the 3 areas that we are most confident in with this Steelers team as well, right? So let us know in the chat the 3 areas that you're most confident in for the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. All right, and for this one, I'll start, right? So for me, man,
Go for it.
And we're listening the exact same way, right? Put them in order, 1, 2, and 3. So for me, I'm starting at my 3rd position that I'm most confident in, and that's the homie Chris Boswell and that special teams unit, man. Because let's be real, man.
Off the top rope.
Let's be real, man. We know what Boz
Ruby
has
with
been.
the stunner there.
Yeah, you know what Boz has been for this team. We know we talk about him as a Justin Tucker light. You know what I mean? Like he's not Tucker, no, but he is definitely the second best kicker in this league, or he's in that conversation in terms of consistency, in terms of leg strength, hitting from 50 plus, clutch moments. And we've seen what it looks like when he is not on his game. We've seen what that looks like and how it killed our season in theory, you know, that 2019 year. Was that 2018 season, excuse me, 2018 season when he was dealing with his little injury. We know what that looks like when he is not on his game. We've experienced what it was like before he got here, after Swish and before Boz. We know what we went through in a sense with that carousel of kickers and stuff like that. So to me, man, I definitely have to start with Boz because he is a weapon for us. He got it. He helped us a major way last year. You know, when you talk about a guy as consistent as him, you need that, especially with the way that we were playing last year and the way that we're talking about playing this year. You can't win tight games just with defense if your field goal kicker is inconsistent, if your kicker isn't accurate, if your kicker can't hit from 50 plus at a high level. You need those type of guys to win with this formula. And if this is the formula we're going with, then all things are pointing to that in terms of, hey, man, elite defense, build up the talent around the quarterback and make sure that quarterback doesn't turn the ball over and doesn't kill us. You're going to need Boz to be on his A game. And for me, I'm just elitely confident in Boz, man. I know what he's capable of, and I know how consistent he's been, man. Yep. Okay. So what's your 3rd one for you, man?
Is Tuitt back for this one too?
If you want him to be back, man, like I said, he's still on the roster. So that's why for me, I'm looking at it as he's still on the roster. All right.
I guess you have to consider his 1-year layoff though too, with him coming back. Whenever you're talking about confidence.
Yeah.
Can I talk this one through a little bit too?
Oh, Lord, here he is, Vic. Hey,
because
do what you need to do.
How much are we talking position group versus the player? And also expectations too.
Hey, man, you talking however you need to talk it. At the end of the day,
like Najee Harris.
At the end of the day, when we talk about our 3 areas where we're most confident in, if you feel like, hey, because this player is that good, that's why I have them as one of my top 3 most confident positions, that's fine. You could say quarterback. And you could be like, man, I think that, you know, Mitch is going to be able to come in and not turn the ball over. I think that, you know, if it's Mason, he's a 30-10 guy. I think Hass is 30. Like, if you want to go that route, go for it.
Yeah. Because Najee Harris, I'm very confident in him just being really good for us. Are we confident in him taking that next step and being like the best running back in the league? I don't know. But we're also talking about the running back position group. We don't have much depth there. So that's what's tough for me. Because I'm very confident in Najee Harris. Like, he's one of the guys I think that's just going to be a staple for us. Receiver, Deontay Johnson, Claypool. I'm confident in them being solid, like, you know, borderline top 25 receivers. Am I confident in them taking the next step? And then we're also talking about the position group. We don't have much depth there. So that's a tough thing. Fryerman, same thing. I'm really confident in him. But where's our depth at after him? How much do you believe in Zach Gentry? I know you're kind of high on Zach Gentry there. Yeah. But could Freiermuth next year become Travis Kelce? Right. I'm still not sure yet. I do think he should do a lot better. He should make a huge rookie to sophomore jump. O-line, we improved, but we got a bunch of young guys. Oh, man, this is tough. Okay, this is tough.
Yeah, so your 3rd most important, the 3rd area where you're super confident, whatever group it is.
If we had Edmonds back, I would probably put safety in this. Minka and Terrell Edmonds is 2 staples right there, but Edmonds isn't back. So this is like really tough for me. All right. I am going to go with. I got it played out. All right, sure? I'm gonna go with. That
boy funny, man.
I am. I'm gonna go with Najee Harris. As my 3rd one. Running back group, I guess, if you want to say that, but Najee Harris is gonna be a big part of that, the main part of it, and with our offensive line upgrades. Like, dude put up top 5 stats for a running back last year with our shitty offensive line, with those upgrades, with Najee Harris going from rookie to sophomore. I think there's going to be a jump there, but I just think his floor, his baseline is probably what we saw last year. I think the sky's up. I just don't know if he's going to make the jump to being like one of the top 2 or 3 running backs in the league, but he's going to be a guy that we could hang our hat on to show up next season. So I got him at 3. Now, the only reason I might not have him higher is because of the group in general, but I think Najee's going to get that much of a workload. I think he deserves to be in the top 3.
Now, are you worried about a sophomore slump? Are you worried about, the workload getting to him in a sense? Because we know at least last year you had the threat of Ben, and we know his reputation alone could cause teams to not always want to pack the box. And we talked about how, Ben would be clutch in terms of situational ball, end of the half, end of the second half, fourth quarter time frame. We knew what he could bring you. And at times as a defender, if you see him heat up, you would have to respect that a lot more than per se a Mitch Trubisky, Mason, Haskins, or even a rookie quarterback. So does that make you hesitate at any time?
No, because as I mentioned, I think the improvements in the offensive line, and I think Canada getting his style of quarterback where he could run more RPOs could help Najee.
Yeah, because he ain't going to be limited now, man. Last year he was handcuffed by that quarterback they had. Who was that quarterback last year, man? You know what I'm saying? Who was that?
I think it was the reverse.
Man? They said that quarterback was holding my man back. Canada was trying to go in here and show he could be an elite coordinator, and he just, he had somebody that was not capable of performing the way that he needed him to perform at quarterback. I think that's what the messaging was this offseason, right? If I remember correct.
What's that movie with Tom Hanks where the ship gets taken over?
You going right there, Captain Phillips on this, man? I had a captain. Is that what it was? I had a captain.
Ben was captain. Yeah. Ben was Captain Phillips, and Canada came in, and the ship was taken from him.
Oh my god!
It was tough to witness.
You are crazy.
And it was an Houdini act too. I didn't realize it throughout the season until kind of as the weeks went on. It was like the last few weeks we really got to start to see it, and then all the comments that started to come out. It was like, wow, this happened right before my very eyes.
Man. Hey, I get it. Anything for my dog 7. I'm with you, baby. I'm with you.
So, yeah, I got Najee at 3. Man, you know what? Boswell probably should be in my top 3. I'm just not going to include him, though. He should be.
Yeah, fair enough,
just for the sake of including other positions. He should be. You're right. I agree with you 100%. Because I
always think of what it looks like if he's not out there. What does that look like if he's not available to us? What does that look like if he goes back to missing? We're in a world of hurt. That's all.
I'm with you. He should be in my top 3. He should be. But I won't include him in my last 2 picks, but he should be.
It's all good, man. It's all good. I just remember, how you was talking about him when he wasn't hitting, and now all of a sudden that he's back making it. Now it's, we don't even care about kicker anymore. I say it's all good, man. It's all good.
I just didn't include special teams in my thought process. Yeah. That's my bad. That's my bad. That's another misstep on my part in terms of my relationship with the special teams unit.
Oh, you only care about them when they're doing bad, right? When they're doing good, oh man, wait, we didn't talk about these guys.
Hey, if you wanted to, even you could have thrown Gunner into your conversation too. You got an all-pro return.
Why isn't he in that conversation? We talked about what it looked like when it was Ryan Switzer, how much we complained about that. We talked about even last year how at times Presley Harvin III inconsistency at punting had us frustrated with that element. That is just funny how we lose sight of that when we're thinking about areas we're most confident in or areas that we like to talk about. But yet we see how impactful it is when the special teams unit is not doing what they're supposed to do. Shoot, we saw the San Francisco 49ers win a game because of special teams in terms of beating Green Bay at Lambeau. We saw us beat the Buffalo Bills behind special teams play. We saw us flip the game behind special teams play against the Chargers. It matters. It matters in a major way, man. But
who you got for 2?
For me, at number 2, I went running back here, and mainly because of Najee Harris. If we had more depth, I would put that at 1. But right now, I have it at 2 because I do think Najee will be able to produce similar results. I don't know if they'll necessarily be better statistically than what he did last season, because I do think he's going to have a lot more attention on him this year because of who's at quarterback. But I do anticipate him still being able to provide us, with that wave that we need to ride for our offense to be successful. But it's going to be largely predicated on his health, him being available. We saw at the end of the year when he did get hurt, in a sense with the elbow injury, it made our offense look a little bit more rugged. We were trying to go through Benny Snell and Kalen Ballage, and that's why it's more important to have that second guy that can really come in and alleviate some of that pressure from Najee. But as a whole, I think Najee's going to come back and be just as good, if not better. I just don't know if the numbers from a statistical standpoint are going to necessarily be better. But I do feel eyeball test wise, we will feel like he is a more improved running back. He'll be more patient, better vision, and just understanding, how to run, when he needs to take shots, when he needs to, get out of bounds, take a little chill part right here, save his body in a sense, man. All that comes with growth. All that comes with, him being out there a little bit more and just feeling more comfortable. And I do feel like even though the O-line is still, questions of how we're going to implement these guys, I do think as a whole, the talent pool is a lot better this year at this time frame than it was a year ago. And that will pay dividends for Najee in this offense as well, man. So that's why I have running back as the number 2, area that I'm most confident in with the Steelers team.
Yeah. So for me, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was saying, so what's your number 2 thing? Yep.
I'm going to go with defensive line with Tua coming back.
Okay.
And Alualu coming back too.
Okay. Not worried about any rust? No rust?
A little bit. That's why I might need to bump them to 3. I might need to do another swap.
Yeah.
But Cam Hayward playing at the level that he's been playing at, all pro, one of the best in the league, with Alualu coming back, with Stephon Tuitt coming back. Hopefully, the rust could be a factor. But just those 3, when we're talking about as a unit,
right?
That's a really damn good defensive line. Right? I mean, I
would agree.
Top 5, just off the top of my head in the league. But then you add the depth with Chris Wormley, Isaiah Loudermilk, and Montravius Adams. Now, it's different if we're talking about those guys as starters, but with those guys as backups.
Oh, you feel a lot more confident with them. Absolutely.
That's what I mean. So I'm going to have them as my 2 spot because maybe I'm leaning a little bit more just as a unit, all those guys together versus just one player.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We probably had the worst last year, but with those 2 guys coming back, now it doesn't look as bad.
No, I would definitely agree with that, man. Tuitt is the X factor, man. Him being back changes a lot in terms of how we view that D-line. Yeah, if he's back and he's healthy, Tyson's back, he's healthy, they become one of those areas where we're extremely confident in that group because you already have a Cam Hayward out there. And we know how consistent, how high end of a talent he's been, how productive a player he's been. And now when you're talking about guys that are playing starter snaps last season in terms of Wormley, in terms of Loudermilk, in terms of Montravius, now you're putting them as your depth pieces. It definitely bolsters that group a lot more. The only thing for me, the reason why I didn't have them up there is I do feel a little bit concerned with, a little bit of rust from Tuitt with him being out for a year. Understanding that he did have a procedure on his knee done last year. It's like all of those questions are going through my mind of, is he completely healthy mentally? What's his headspace like? Because we know just because a guy is out there, if he's mentally not, where he needs to be, that's going to show up on that field as well. And those are all the question marks that we just have to live with, regardless of if he's coming back or not. We just have to assume that if he is out there, those are some of the questions that we're going to have to deal with until he puts them to rest. So that's why for me, I didn't include him up there. But I could definitely, see why you would put him up there if all those things work out the way they should work out.
Yeah, but, they work out for sure. I mean, that's why I could borderline swap them with Najee or even just boot them out and like you have with kicker Chris Boswell. It makes complete sense.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. All right, so let's see what the chat says before we list our number 1 position that we're most confident with. Rod Dollar, he says D-line is the number 1 thing he's most confident with. Running back is the number 2 thing, and then he puts special teams as the 3rd thing. I guess when you have, an all-pro return man and a former all-pro in terms of Boswell, because I think he has 1 all-pro as a kicker, if I remember
at least
correctly.
The Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I know he has the Pro Bowl. I couldn't remember if he had 1 all-pro or not.
He should for that, the 2017
That's what I was
season,
thinking.
right?
I wasn't sure if he got it or not, but I know that he's at least been a Pro Bowler. But when you talk about those 2, I definitely think that, having an all-pro and a Pro Bowler overshadows the inconsistency that we've had at the punt position, in terms of last year. Vincent Murray, he says O-line is the number 1 thing that he's confident in. Number 2, running back. And number 3,
he said O-line.
He said O-line's number 1. Now, you think about the way we've allocated our resources money-wise, that has become essentially the highest paid unit on the offense. I mean, when you're talking about Chooks, what he got paid, you talk about James Daniel, Mason Cole, all 3 of those guys are significantly compensated in contrast to what that group was getting paid a year ago. So you could make the case that, man, we're paying more money, or at least for the interior guys that are new, that should, equate to a way better unit, a way more consistent unit. Whereas when we're talking about the outside position, that wide receiver, we are missing that third receiver. When we're talking about tight end, we're speculating that Pat can take that jump, but what does that jump look like? We still, it's a mixed review on Zach Gentry in terms of how good we think he is, or if you need to upgrade that spot. We hit on running back where we said, outside of, Najee is great, but the rest of the group is like, man, who is it? So I could see him making that case. I personally want to put them at 1, but I could definitely understand, why his sentiment would be what it is right there.
I think it goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. There's reason for confidence or optimism in any of these groups. It just goes to what are your expectations?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Litzberg 7, he has outside linebacker as his number 1 position that he's confident in. Number 2, he says kicker. And then number 3, he went with halfback. Halfback, man, that's dope. I ain't seen the word HB in a minute, man. You got to put RB, bro. You threw me off for it. So I thought I was playing NCAA like 2007. What? Halfback? Lord. Nah, I'm messing with you, baby. It's all good.
We got our number ones?
Yeah, so let's read off our number 1s, man. Who would you say is your most, what position group are you most comfortable with, or what area of the Steelers are you most comfortable with?
I think it's got to be outside linebackers, right?
Okay. You tell me, man.
TJ Watt,
dudes.
the decoy. You could throw anyone else on the other side. I'm confident in him. He's getting enough sacks for 2 people out there. So you combine him with Highsmith, who I thought had a really nice jump from his rookie season to last season. Okay. Sack numbers, 6 sacks. You would be hoping there was a little bit more, but I do think his impact was bigger outside of those numbers because he had a lot of tackles for loss. He had some impact plays, and he had some pressures where you're like, oh, man, he was right there. He affected the play, but just didn't get the sack.
Right.
So, I'm just confident about those. Like, TJ Watt, he's the decoy. I expect that play to continue. And Highsmith, I don't see him getting worse anytime soon. So when you look back on last season, they were one of our most dominant position groups. So I just don't see anything changing. I just have confidence.
Do you have any concern with that third rusher though? Because we did see at times where there was a significant drop off when one of those guys came off the field, whether they were tired, whether they were injured.
If you're talking about depth, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of like the conversation we were talking about with oh my God, I forgot the other position we were just talking about, where it was like the depth. More importantly, we just didn't feel like it was a lot there. And we know at, the outside linebacker position, the third guy did play
we're talking about running
a good amount of snaps last time. Yeah. Because you think about it, we went through Derek Tuska last year. We had Ingram at the earlier portions of the season. Then we started to see how, we were Taco Charlton. It was weird in terms of that third rusher, and we really didn't have that guy. Does that play into this at all for you?
We got Avery. Dude has started in the league, more of a journeyman, but I think he could be a solid third edge rusher for us. And then also when you combine Simon too, I'd like to see what those guys could do with a full off season here.
Okay.
At least it feels like, unless these guys go off the board and say I want to get traded mid-season, it feels like we're going to have more stability at that depth spot for this upcoming season compared to last year without Ingram bounce. Because if Ingram stayed, holy hell.
Yeah, it would have been way different.
It's definitely different. But no, I think those guys will be fine.
Okay.
We got enough in terms of the top tier talent with Highsmith and TJ Watt, plus 2 dudes that have played in the league for a decent amount. Avery, this will be his fifth or sixth year?
Yeah, 5th year. Yeah.
Started some games. Simon, he's been in the league for a while. We have some confidence in him. So I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. No love for Derek. You ain't throw Tuska in there, man. That's crazy.
No, we're
Tuska.
Good.
Remember, Tuska gave us some productivity last year, man. Chill out, baby. Hey.
What is that? He had that one big sack. It was in the Browns game, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Ben's final home game.
He gave us some productivity, man. Come on now.
No, I got outside linebackers at 1.
Well, no surprise, I got outside linebackers at 1 as well. You thought I was going to not talk about my OLBs? You thought I was not going to talk about the
I didn't know who you were going to have, because
you
were pushing back a little bit there. I was like, wait, does he have receiver at number 1 now?
Come on, man. I just like to give you
inside
a hard
linebackers
time.
at 1?
I like to give you a hard time every once in a while. But
no,
man, we got the
I
reigning
appreciate
decoy,
it. It's a good point to bring up.
Yeah, we got the reigning decoy because when you talk about TJ, he is the ultimate force multiplier. he makes our pass defense a lot better, not just because of the sacks, but because of the pressure he creates. That helps out our secondary. That makes us a lot more confident in the group that we have even right now. Without having a bona fide number one corner, we don't feel as threatened by that because we know TJ, what he brings to the table. I'm a big Alex Highsmith fan. You look at the productivity that he's had, the steady growth and development, and more importantly, when Melvin Ingram left, the spike in productivity that we saw from Alex Highsmith, he took his game to another level. I anticipate him continuing that. With Alex, man, I think that he's extremely hungry, and he's going to be coming up. He's getting closer to contract time for him now as well. So he's going to be another guy that's going to be trying to be extremely productive this season because he's going to want to get paid going into next offseason. So for me, man, when you pair those two guys together, I think that they are the straw that stirs this Steelers defense. I think that they are the biggest reasons why our defense is viewed the way that it's viewed, not just in the pass rush element, but in the run support as well. We know TJ, man, he forces fumbles. He's the punch king. He might punch you, but he's going to punch the ball as well. You know, that's what he does. And Alex Highsmith has shown that, man, he can be very productive in terms of setting the edge. Both of those guys, I think, you know, raise that level, raise this defense up to a scary, you know, scenario when those two guys are clicking and playing at the potential that they're capable of playing at. And honestly, man, I still feel confident in the guys behind it. You talk about John Simon. I think that, you know, him having a full offseason here, he's going to help you in that run support. Absolutely. I think Derek Tuska, I kind of like him as well in a sense, even though he played at North Dakota State and I don't like them. You know, he did give us some quality snaps at times last year. You know, and that's just the reality of it. And with Jannard Avery, I'm hoping that it can get back to rookie year Jannard. Because rookie year Jannard, he looked good. He flashed. He played extremely fast level. I thought that, you know, he had a natural rushing ability, and that was ultimately why you look at his stats that first year, why he was so productive. Now, since then, it kind of, like I said, got convoluted, right? That second year, new DC, different style of defense. He doesn't get those opportunities. He goes to Philly. He's playing in a different position. But now that you're talking about putting him back at that outside linebacker spot where he's more comfortable and I think just more natural for him, I think that that's going to help him out a lot as well and really help out this group. So to me, man, I think that, yeah, it was, you know, I thought wide receiver, but I said, man, wide receiver doesn't have that bona fide one guy. Even when we're talking about the safety position, I like TJ Watt over Minka, and I like Alex Highsmith over the, you know, Carl Joseph or Trey Norwood that we have right now at safety. So for me, it was just like, man, how do I not say O-line? You know, how do I not say outside linebacker? O-line, I thought about them as well, man, because they are upgraded, but I still have a little bit of concerns of how we're going to put these pieces to the puzzle out there in terms of where does Kendrick Green fall into this equation? What do we do with Dotson? Where does he fall in this equation? How confident am I in Chooks? Just because he's getting paid now at a certain level, does that make me feel that his play is equal to that pay? Because that was a little bit of a discussion that we had when he got the contract that he received. We were like, man, we thought he played well last year, but not to that level. So that's the part for me where I'm just a little bit concerned. But outside linebacker, man, I don't have a lot of faults there. I think that, man, the high-end talent is elitely high-end. And you're talking about TJ having a full offseason as well because he did not have that last year. With the contract situation, he wasn't practicing. Remember that. We talked about that. I do think that that's only going to make him be a lot more better as well.
Yeah, you're definitely right. In terms of the confidence level of all the groups, you could bring up some negatives. But I think for outside linebackers, what is it? When we're talking about the depth, sure, but it's going to be better than what it was last year. And TJ Watt won a deep point. Alex Highsmith played really well. And I don't see those two things changing. And I think we improved our depth. So that's why they're kind of locked in at number one for me.
Yeah. No, I definitely like
whereas
that.
With line, like offensive line, I'm confident in them being better than last year. But at the same time, we got some young guys. Like, how much of a jump will Dan Moore make? I expect him to take a jump. Kevin Dotson, can he stay healthy? I think he's solid. Mason Cole, he's been really solid. I mean, but he has been. Also hasn't started all of his games up to this point throughout his career. He's been versatile in and out of the lineup at times, but he's also young. James Daniels probably the guy I'm most confident in, actually.
Yeah, I would agree.
He's a stud for the Bears. And then you're right, with Chooks getting that contract. All right, we're kind of projecting here. We're hoping you're going to hit your prime with where we signed you over these next couple years. So, yeah, I mean, there's reason to be confident in the line being better, but I don't know versus all the other position groups that we named, like in the top 3. I just don't know if I'd put them there. It goes back to receiver and tight end, too, as to why they're not there as well.
Yeah, without a doubt, man.
Kind of like the same conversation.